So let's take a look at the newest electric outboard from ePropulsion. This is the eLite Long Shaft. I am not going to bore y'all with a long, drawn-out unboxing, and nobody likes to hear the sound of cardboard and crunching paper anyways, but this is what you get when you order the eLite Long Shaft. It comes all in one box. So here is everything that comes in the box with the eLite. You get the electric outboard itself. I'll show you how to set that up here in just a minute. You get the transom clamp, you get a 110-volt US charger. You get 2 magnetic kill switches, which I'll show you how those go on later, and the kill switches have these neoprene lanyards built into them. You have a trim pin that goes into your transom clamp. You get a steering locking pin. This is for locking the steering so that you can't move it side to side. You're going to get a hex wrench, which is used for adjusting these little bolts right here, which is how you adjust your transom height. You get a nice fancy printed user manual, and nobody ever reads that. You get a bag of silica gel to keep everything nice and dry. Don't eat those. Those are bad for you. And most importantly, you get 2 stickers. And I almost forgot, you get this really nice carrying case that comes with it. It's like a canvasy type material. Seems to be pretty waterproof on the outside. It's got 2 straps so that you can buckle this in, and this thing zips up into a nice little carryable package just like that. So the eLite, that's what it's called, the eLite, not the Elite. Everybody calls it that. It's called the eLite. The eLite is an electric outboard from ePropulsion. It is 24 volts and has a battery inside the shaft. So like this section right here, bam, that is the battery. It's got a bunch of nifty little features on it, but it is specifically designed to be used on small boats. That's going to be your little dinghies, your inflatables, small skiffs, plastic boats, and maybe even small john boats. Now we'll go over all the nifty little features that it has here in just a moment, but eLite has been around for a while. It's been out for a year or so. The short shaft version, which they never called the short shaft. It was just called the eLite. Well, now they have the long shaft version. Why, do you ask? Well, the original eLite, which is this one right here, was only able to be used on boats with transom height of about 15 inches or less. And they wanted to come out with a long version. So now we have the eLite long shaft. These are brand new here in the US. I think we're the first dealer to actually get them. We have them available on our website. I did some searching around earlier. I think we're the only place you can get them right now. We do have them, and they are in stock. So let's get a little uppy-closey and get to know the eLite long shaft just a little bit better. Like I was saying earlier, this is an integrated battery. It has a lithium battery that is about right in this area right here. It is the exact same size battery that is in the regular eLite. It is not bigger. It does not have any more runtime, and it has the exact same 1.5 horsepower equivalent electric outboard motor, which is a direct drive down here. So there is no cooling. It actually cools itself through this lower unit. It just from touching the water is how it dissipates heat. So you don't got to worry about water hoses and impellers, nothing like that. Speaking of things that rhyme with propeller, the new eLite long shaft has a sealed in propeller. And what they did is it looks like they filled this up full of silicone. You can take this with a razor blade and cut the silicone out to get to the bolt if you want to replace this little small prop that it has on it. I'm not 100% sure why they did that. They did not tell us that they were going to do that, but there is a bolt down there. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it on video. You can cut this silicone out, pull that bolt out, pull the prop off, and there is a shear pin back behind it. And we do have replacement props for these. As of right now, there are no performance props or different pitches or anything like that. They only make this one size prop for the eLite, and there are no aftermarket companies making any kind of performance props or different pitch props that I know of. But aside from just checking the prop for fishing line and weeds tangled around it, there is no maintenance on the lower unit. There's no gear oil to change. Like I said, there's no cooling inside of it, so you don't have to worry about an impeller. So there's a couple of functions on the tiller. This one right here, you can pull it and rotate it, and that will allow you to adjust the tiller at pretty much any angle that you want to, but it only locks in a couple of positions. So it locks when you turn it back that way, it'll lock straight out like that. You turn it again, and you can lock it in the down position and then turn it. And that actually acts as your carry handle. So you can carry it just like this if you want to. So it does not lock in these little positions right here. It only locks in the down position, the out position. It locks it like a 45-degree angle up, and it locks in a straight up. But with all those adjustments, even if it's not locked in place, you can still run it at any of those angles that you want to. So if you want to stand up and run it, you can, and it's not the exact angle that you want it. Now you can get it to lock in that 45, and all you do is just turn that back sideways and move it until it locks into place. Here on the side of the tiller, there is a button that you can press. You just press that button and you can extend this out. As far as dimensions go, from the end of the tiller handle down to where it extends is about 16 inches, and then you push the button and collapse it, and that brings it down to about 9 inches. Now this button right here is what you use to release it from the transom clamp. The transom clamp itself has a little knob right here, and that is what slides onto the eLite and locks it in place. If you want to remove the eLite and leave the transom clamp on your boat, all you have to do is push this button and it will come off just like that. So the transom clamp has 3 different trim pin positions. You can do this in the lowest, which is 8. Middle one is 17, and this one right here is 26 degrees. You also have the option to pull this lever right here, and that will allow you to pull it all the way up and it locks into place. Now, I will tell you from previous experience with the other eLite, this transom clamp is the most fragile part of this entire unit. I would not trailer this on the back of a boat or leave your eLite connected to it in this upright position for a long period of time, especially if you're out there on the water and it's beating against really, really heavy waves. I would pull the eLite off of this. But as far as common use, I haven't seen a whole lot of issues with them just using it like normal in the lower position, but I have seen some issues where people have trailered this or left it on their dinghy and drug it behind their sailboat for miles and miles and miles with the motor in the upright position like that, and I have seen a few of these break. And to release it, you just pull that lever and then you can put it down in whichever angle you want. And to insert the trim pin, it's got a little knob right there on the end of it, a little nubby if you want to call it. That goes in just like that, and then you have to push and twist, and that will lock it into place. And if you want to remove it, you just turn it back up, push and pull out, and then you can adjust it to the next height. And one thing to remember is if you put this trim pin in without this locked in like this, you can hear it when I lock it all the way down. That is locked into place. That'll keep your trim pin from rotating and falling out. If you were to leave this up and it's not locked into place, your trim pin can wiggle and eventually pull out on its own. So make sure that when you put this trim pin in that you lock it into place so that it can't rotate and fall out. The transom clamp does come with an anti-beaching or an anti-grounding mode, and that switch is right here. When it is in the down position, once your trim pin locks into this part of the transom clamp, you cannot move it. Pull up on this lever and raise it all the way up to the top. Then you can come in here where this lever is and push this lever up to where it says check mark, and that will allow it to free swing. Once you lower this back down, if you are to hit something with the bottom of your outboard, this thing will now free swing and keep you from damaging the transom clamp. If you were to hit like a rock on the lower unit, that will swing up. Me personally, I run all of my electric outboards in anti-grounding or anti-beaching mode so that I never have to worry about breaking one of these transom clamps if I were to hit something with that lower unit. Moving on to the kill switch, it is a small magnet and it goes right here on top of the tiller handle, and that is what will allow you to yank, and that will cut the motor off in case of an emergency or if you get thrown overboard. It does come with 2, so that is nice, and it also comes with that nice little lanyard so you can put that around your wrist while you're out driving this thing. If something happens, you fall out of the boat, it will kill the motor. Right here behind this little trap door, that is the plug for the charger, and it only goes in one direction and then screws down. Cannot mess this up. Pretty easy to do, and that plugs into any standard 110 volt outlet. There is 2 other charging options available. It does not come with them. You can purchase them separately. They make a 12 volt charger that you can use to charge this off of a 12 volt battery with some alligator clips, or if you have a female style cigarette lighter, you can plug that in and run a 12 volt cigarette lighter style charging system if you want. The other one is a solar charger. It is only a charge controller is what ePropulsion sells. You will have to provide your own solar charging panels. Right behind this little rubber cap is a USB-C port. This has been highly confused on the previous eLite. This is not a charging port for the motor. This is a charging port for your phone or a small camera or a little charging bank. This port only does power out to an accessory like your phone or a camera. You cannot plug a USB-C into this port and charge the electric outboard itself. It is only to use the electric outboard battery to charge your accessories like phones, cameras, and little small things like that. For setup, it's relatively easy. All you need to do is loosen up the clamps on the back side. Tighten down those little blue handles so that you can get the transom clamp nice and tight against your transom. I've got this down to about as small as it will go, and this is a 1-inch piece of aluminum that I have it mounted to. I'll spin this out and see exactly how much room. That way you can kind of gauge what kind of thickness you can put this on as far as transom goes. It looks like from the inside of the cup to just to the inside of this is about 2 7/8. So that's going to be your maximum is 2 7/8. So if your transom is more than 2 7/8, this transom clamp is not going to work for you. Then again, I don't know many boats that have a transom that's over 2 inches anyways, so there's that. Once you have that securely on your transom, then all you need to do is just slide the eLite onto the transom clamp, and it is locked in place. I will tell you from personal experience, this transom clamp style where it's got this swinging pin is a little tight at first. It does loosen up a little bit over time. It'll still lock it in place. So you can pick this whole thing up. It's not going anywhere. But when you first get this, it is going to be a little tight. My regular eLite that I have is the same exact way. It's a little tight for about the first 2 or 3 trips, and then it starts to loosen up. And I have this in anti-grounding mode, so this can move around. I'm just going to put this in the lowest position, put the trim pin in, turn, and that will keep it to where if you hit something with the lower unit, it will pop up and not break. Now, if you have this in locking mode where it actually locks into place, if you hit something, you can see how much flex is in that plastic piece right there. So be careful. This thing is not bulletproof. This transom clamp is mostly plastic, so be careful with it. I recommend highly that you run it in anti-beaching mode. Now, if you already have the motor installed onto your boat and you want to turn the anti-beaching mode on, you have to pull the trim lever up all the way as high as it'll go. Then it'll allow you to push that lever, pull it back down, and it will now be in anti-beaching or anti-grounding mode. And you can do your tiller extension just like this. You can raise it, lower it, lock it into position if you want. That way it is locked into this exact position. Or you can pull that pin out and turn it sideways, and that will give you the ability to adjust it. Now, if you want to lock it into one of those positions like I talked about earlier, you just turn this little knob until you feel it go into, it'll click into position. That way you know that it's locked there. It comes with a little screen protector. You can just peel that off. To turn it on, you just press and hold the button. It'll show the state of charge. And then as it turns on, you'll see the little lights go across the top. And then this is your main screen. It tells you how many watts you're doing, whether you're in neutral, forward, or reverse. This is your battery meter right there. And that little flashing light right there is telling me that there's no kill switch attached. Take my magnetic kill switch, install it, and you'll see the light goes away. When you go into the forward position, it will say F for forward, and it'll tell you how many watts that you are spinning. When you go back to neutral, the neutral light comes on, and then when you go to reverse, the reverse light comes on and tells you how many watts you are turning. A couple of things to keep in mind, and I'm only saying this because I get this phone call about 37 times a week. This is opposite of how a normal outboard operates. Forward is counterclockwise, and reverse is clockwise. So it's kind of opposite of the way you're probably used to operating an outboard with a tiller handle. The other thing that you need to know is that when you turn this thing full throttle and it is not in the water, we're just sitting here on a bench just testing this out, it has a safety mode built in where it will only allow it to turn a very slow wattage. That is 12 watts on this particular motor. Some of them are about 13, 14, but it's going to be in that low wattage range. And it's for a couple of reasons. One is if you have this set up on a bench like I do and you walk away from it and you forget it, it's not going to run your battery dead in 30, 45 minutes. It's going to allow it to run for a very long time. So hopefully you remember and you can come and turn it off. The other reason is for safety. If you got this thing running on a bench or on the back of your boat and a kid or somebody were to walk by and try to grab that prop, it'll keep it from hurting them or damaging them. Now you see what happened. I put my foot up there. You heard it go whoop. Hopefully you heard it. But then it popped up an error code with a little wrench beside it. That little E25 error code is letting you know that something hit the prop and stopped the prop from running. And that is a safety feature to keep people from getting hurt. I was able to just stop that with my foot really easily. To clear this error code, all you need to do is turn the motor off by pressing and holding that power button, and then you'll press it and hold it again to turn it back on. You'll see the lights come on and you are back in business again. Short pressing the power button while it is on the main screen will toggle back and forth between your battery percentage and how many watts you are using. Double pressing the power button will put you into sport mode. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on and let it run in sport mode. It will only do this on the boat at its full wattage, but right now it's probably only running about 12 watts, and I am correct. So in sport mode, if you are out on the water, that's going to allow it to pull 750 watts total in sport mode. But it will only do it in short bursts. About a minute is all you're going to get out of it. Once that minute has passed, sport mode will automatically turn itself off and it will go back to its regular mode, which is going to be 500 watts maximum. So one of the features on the eLite that nobody ever reads about because it's in this little eLite user manual that everyone throws away or refuses to read, there is a kill switch loss mode here on page 37. So let's just say you're out running your outboard, you got it on, and for some reason, the only kill switch that you have, you lost it. It fell overboard, whatever. You are not stranded. You can get back home. All you need to do is read your instruction manual, or I will show you exactly how you can fix this problem. To enter kill switch loss mode, the motor has to be on, and you're going to press and hold the power button. The screen is going to go off, and then it's going to come back on. And there it goes. And while it's back on, you are going to see this little kill switch icon, but it's not going to be flashing. It's going to be solid on. That means you are in kill switch loss mode. So I'm going to turn this on, pulling our 11 watts for our safety mode right there. And it is working without the kill switch. And it will work in reverse as well. And you can use that if you want to. But you need to get your kill switch and replace it. We do have extras of these if you need to purchase one. And it is always advisable to be safe and wear your kill switch just in case you fall overboard. Once you put the kill switch back on, that kill switch light will go away, even if it is in kill switch loss mode, and return back to normal operation. Now, the last feature of the eLite I'll go over is the steering lock. What you'll need to do to access it is pull this trim lever up and move the clamp up and out of your way. That hole right down there is where you are going to insert this pin, and that will lock your steering into the 0 degree position. You do have to kind of move this side to side and push in on that pin at the same time to get it to lock. Once it's locked into place, you can use this to steer the boat with a rudder if you want to do that. And then to remove it, just grab the end of that pin, pull it out, and it will return to its normal steering. Now we have the original eLite, the short shaft here, and the long shaft here. I'm going to give you some overall length measurements because this is another common phone call that I get on a regular basis. Overall length from the top of the transom mounting bracket here to the very bottom on the eLite long is going to be about 30.5 inches. On the eLite short shaft, it is about 25 inches. Now, if you're measuring one of these for your boat and you're trying to figure out which one you need, whether it's the short or the long, here's the easiest way to tell. You want the tip of the prop to be approximately 4 to 6 inches below the surface of the water. These are not like your typical gas outboards. They are low RPM and high torque motors, which means they cannot run up towards the surface of the water. If you get the surface of the water too close to that tip, it will start to pull in air bubbles and reduce the efficiency of this prop. It will sense that there's not enough pressure on the prop and go into that safety mode like we showed earlier, where it's only running about 12, 13 watts, and you don't want that while you're out on the water. So the best way to figure out the measurement is right here at the tip of the prop. We'll go right here, and I'll put this piece of aluminum in place just to give me an idea of where the tip of that prop is. So on this short shaft, going from the top of the mounting surface to the tip of the prop is about 16 inches. Taking that same measurement on the long shaft version, we're at about 22 inches to the tip of the prop. So that gives you some idea of which shaft size you need to be. What I generally tell people is if you are 15 inches or less, get the short shaft. Anything over 15 inches, I go for the long shaft. And if you're just completely unsure and you don't know what to do, get the long shaft. It is never a bad thing to have a longer shaft. If you don't believe me, just go ask your significant other. As far as performance goes, there is no negative to having the prop deeper in the water as opposed to when it's too short and the tip of the prop is too close to the surface of the water. It can severely impact your performance and may even cut the motor down to that safety mode. So longer is always better if you're not sure which way to go, or if you're in that range where you're like 15.5 inches and you could probably get away with a short shaft, I'd probably go ahead and get the long. The only thing you'll have to watch out for is how deep that prop sits down in the water. You want to make sure that you don't want to hit stuff with your lower unit while you're out riding around. Now, the last little feature that you need to know about on both of the eLites, this is not just on the long shaft, this is also on the short shaft. There are 4 bolts right here. This is where the transom pin goes into the transom mounting clamp. That little Allen key that comes in the package is for these bolts right here. What you do is loosen these bolts up. And once you remove all those screws, you can take this piece off and you can adjust it. There is 4 sets of adjustments. You can pick whichever one of those 4 you want. The highest adjustment points makes this a 21.7 inch shaft, and then you line up the holes on the next one. That gets you to a 20.2 inch shaft. Down one more brings you to an 18.6 inch shaft, and then down at the very furthest one that it can go will bring you down to a grand total of 17 inches. So it has a lot of adjustment in it, but they are set. You cannot run it in between any of these. So you have to pick one and stick with it. Now the bolts are exactly the same, so they all go back in the same place, but I did notice one thing different. On these top 2 bolts, the 2 that are closest to the tiller, there is 3 black washers and a lock washer on those. And then the bottom 2 had a silver washer, 1 black washer, and 1 lock washer on there. I'm not sure if that really makes a difference or not. I'm not sure why ePropulsion did 2 different amounts of washers, but I'm going to put them back in the exact same way that I found them. And the 2 with the extra 2 black washers on there, I'm going to put those in up top. If you decide to move your transom clamp around, I highly recommend that you do it with this little tool that they gave you. You can use a regular hex head on like a screwdriver or something like that, but I would highly recommend that you not do it with any kind of electric drill, electric impact, or anything like that. No ugga-duggas on this. The shaft, this portion right here, is cast aluminum, and these holes are all threaded, and you do not want to strip out the threads on those holes. I can bet you that will be a costly repair if I have to drill and tap those again for you. So just remember, do it by hand, no ugga-duggas, and you should be fine. Once you go out and play with this thing a little bit and you figure out which height your boat likes it best at, I'll go ahead and remove these little bolts, put you a little Loctite on there just for peace of mind. So that is everything that you need to know about the eLite long shaft and a little bit about the regular eLite if you didn't know that already. Overall, I think it is a really good option for very small boaters or people that just need to get somewhere without a trolling motor and don't need a lot of runtime. The total runtime on this thing at 500 watts is about 45 minutes. As of right now, there is no option to add an external battery pack. You would have to find some way of charging it out on the water in order to get more runtime out of it. You can use it while you're charging, but you have 2 things you have to worry about. One is there's really not a way to charge it out on the water that you're going to charge it any faster than you're using it. And second thing is you really have to worry about heat. It does have a temperature sensor inside of it, and it will only allow you to charge it if the temperature of the motor is below 113 degrees. I know that sounds like a lot, but let's just say you're out in the summertime, it's 95, 100 degrees outside. This thing is all metal, so it may actually be an internal temperature higher than 95 degrees, closer to 100. You plug that charger in and charge it while you're running it. This thing is creating heat while it is running, and it is very easy to get that 113 degree mark and get the motor to shut off. Once it reaches that 113 degree mark, it does have an alarm system built into it. It will flash, sends you a little alert to let you know that it is overheated, and the motor will not work until it has cooled back down. Now, we here at Tiny Boat Nation are not in the business of making money. We are in the business of getting boaters out on the water and getting them the stuff that they need. If you call here and you ask me my opinion on the eLite, I'm going to tell you it's a great motor, and I'm going to ask you about your specific situation. And while this is a great motor, there are things about it that has some slight drawbacks, and I wouldn't recommend it to every person out there. I'm not going to say this is the best electric outboard. Everybody needs one. That's not true at all. There are a couple of complaints that I have about this motor, and the number one, and I hope that ePropulsion is watching this, I have complained about this since the day the very first eLite was released. Not having the ability to put an external battery on this and give it more extended range and more runtime is stupid. I don't know why they did that. I know that they wanted to keep it all nice and sleek, and it's great that the battery is inside the shaft, but not being able to plug another 24-volt battery in here and keep this thing running longer, epic fail. Why did you do that, ePropulsion? That was stupid. So if you decide to get you one of these, just keep in mind your range at full throttle on this unit is going to be about 45 minutes. If you run at about half throttle, you can get an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more. If you get a little less than a half throttle, probably about 2 hours out of it, but it does have a limited range. Now, that works great for a lot of people that are on small ponds, small private lakes, or you just need to use your electric outboard to get you to your fishing spot or get you to wherever you're going to be at for the day. And then you can charge it with a solar charger or off of a 12-volt battery while you're not using it throughout the day, and then have enough juice to get you back to where you're going. It's great for scenarios like that. What it is not great for is all day long runtime. For that, I would recommend that you step up to something like the Spirit or the Navy. My other big thing that just kind of drives me nuts is this transom clamp. The outsides of it are some kind of really thin aluminum, and then most of the internals and stuff are plastic. Why they did that, I don't know. ePropulsion, you guys are idiots. You should have made this thing a lot more stout than it is. So if you decide to buy this thing, you need to keep in the back of your mind that the transom clamp is the weak part of this entire system. Under normal use, I have seen these things last. Mine's lasted. I've hit a few things with it, and I haven't had any problems. I am always conscious of that transom clamp weakness when I have it out on my boat, and I don't go intentionally grounding it or intentionally running it into rock, letting it hang up like this off the back of my boat for long periods of time, because I know that this thing is mostly plastic and it can break. So as long as you're careful with it and you don't abuse this thing, I don't see any problems with the transom clamp long term. But if you're one of those people, and I've talked to a lot of you people on the phone that are very, very rough with your electric outboards, this may not be the one for you. I'd probably recommend that you get the Spirit. The transom clamp's a lot more robust on it. This one, a little bit more sensitive. Something that I hope ePropulsion fixes in the future. But for right now, this is what we have. So I'm giving you guys an honest opinion on it. Good news is we do carry replacements for it. So if you need a replacement, you can get one from us. A little shameless plug there for you. Aside from that, I really don't have too many complaints about the eLite, except for this prop having silicone in the end of it. What in the world were you guys thinking, ePropulsion? That's stupid. Now, anytime I want to change out the prop, like say I do wind up getting this thing on a couple of rocks and I get some dings in it and I want to replace it, I got to go cut this silicone that y'all put in there out of it to get to the bolt to remove the prop, which if you don't carry a razor blade with you on your boat, it's going to be just about impossible to change while you're on the boat. Again, ePropulsion, if you guys are listening, which I hope you are, we love your products, but y'all do some dumb stuff sometimes. Don't put silicone in the end of the prop in the future for us, please. Thank you. Now, the silicone covering the prop bolt is not uncommon with ePropulsion. They make quite a few other products that have silicone covering up the ends of the bolts. The Spirit is a classic example. It has a bunch of silicone around a lot of the transom clamp bolts. It's not terribly difficult to get out. You just got to get in there with a little razor blade and just kind of cut around the edge of it. I usually use like a small pick and just kind of pop that little silicone plug out of there, and I'll fill it back up with silicone if I feel like it. Most of the time, I just leave them uncovered. That's just me. You do you, boo. So that's it. There is the ePropulsion eLite long shaft. If you want one, links below down in the description. Visit tvnation.net and you can get one. We have them in stock. Hope you enjoyed the video, and next time you see me with this eLite long shaft, it will be on the back of the boat because we're going to take it out and go do some testing with it.